The concept of the Battle Frontier is honestly pretty great. A post-game location that houses multiple battle facilities, each with their own twist on battling. Some of these twists are pretty neat, like in the Battle Dome. Then there's the Battle Pike. The Battle Pike is the most disappointing and filler-feeling facility in the Battle Frontier, in my humble opinion. The most unique thing about the place is probably the building that houses it being modeled after a large Seviper, and the player entering through its mouth. Upon entering, you'll notice there's no option to do double battles, a trait shared with 2 other facilities. If you're not familiar with the Battle Frontier, it might surprise you to learn that there's 3 facilities that don't offer the option to do double battles, especially since Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald were the games that introduced the concept of double battles to the series. As for the Pike's gimmick, it's all about testing your luck, which is something that arguably gets tested in every other battle facility. Is your opponent holding bright powder? Your luck gets tested. Facing an opponent that can inflict a status? Better hope it fails. Oh, I can tank another hit, better hope it doesn't crit. You see what I mean? So, what makes the Battle Pike's test of luck different? A run through the Pike consists of you going through 14 rooms. 7 of them are just copies of these rooms, where you choose between one of 3 doors, and the other 7 are where your luck gets tested. Behind each of these doors is one of 8 possible events shown on screen. The quotes on the left side of this table are said by this NPC if you choose to talk to her. She gives a hint as to what may be behind one of the doors. One of the possible events is a double battle, which is probably why you can't just choose doubles as an option at the lobby. In all honesty, I don't get this. Why not just replace that option with, I don't know, a 20% reduction to your move's PP, like a reverse PP up? Not that there's much of a reason to do double battles in Emerald's Battle Frontier, but it would have been such an easy thing to fix. There are a few events that are pretty similar to one another, which gives off the impression that even Game Freak themselves were struggling to come up with ideas for this place. One of the 8 events is having 1 or 2 of your Pokemon healed, while another event is having all of your Pokemon healed. Not a bad thing to double up on, I suppose, especially since your Pokemon don't get healed between battles in the Battle Pike. But then look at this. One event is a single battle, while another is a single battle against a harder trainer. The trainers for the latter event don't get harder starting on the 9th round, which means this event just becomes a regular single battle, but you get fully healed after. So that's arguably 5 of the 8 events that are just copies of each other, with one slight tweak. Heck, these 3 are only here because they decided to not heal you between battles. The remaining 3 events are some or all of your Pokemon getting inflicted by a status condition, having to go through a room with wild encounters, and a room where nothing happens. While the status condition inflicting room is kind of interesting due to electric types having an immunity from being paralyzed, a trait the type normally doesn't have until X and Y, the really interesting room here is the wild encounters one. At any given time, there are 3 Pokemon you can encounter in this room. Seviper and Milotic will always be 2 of them, but the 3rd Pokemon will change depending on how long of a streak you have. The first Pokemon is Dusclops, who stays around until room 280. That's 20 runs through the Battle Pike. Keep in mind though, Bulbapedia lists the number of rooms you need to clear in a single round here as 7, rather than 14. So if this table also ignores the break rooms between each of the events, then that's actually 40 rounds that Dusclops is an encounter for. Electrode appears in rounds 21 through 40, Breloom for rounds 41 through 60, and Wobbuffet appears starting in round 61. Again, that's assuming this table on Bulbapedia uses 14 rooms for a single round. If it only uses 7 rooms, then that means you have to wait until round 121 to encounter Wobbuffet here. I am genuinely asking this. Has anybody encountered Wobbuffet in the Battle Pike? I don't know why you would want to encounter it here, but has anybody encountered it here? I feel like I can probably count on one hand, maybe two, the number of people who have gotten a big enough streak to get Wobbuffet encounters in the Pike. One other noteworthy thing about these wild Pokemon is that they have fixed movesets, including moves they don't normally learn via level up. 4 of the 6 Pokemon have Toxic, and every Pokemon except Wobbuffet can inflict at least 2 status conditions. Heck, every single move that Milotic and Seviper have can inflict your Pokemon with a status condition, and they're the 2 Pokemon that are always encounterable. The No Event rooms contain a single NPC that spews out some Battle Frontier-esque dialogue. Just like the trainers, these messages are actually kinda charming, and this dude asks a really good question. What will come after this room? Oh no. Upon reaching the end of rounds 2, 10, and every 4th round after the 10th, you'll be warned that a dreadful presence awaits you. That dreadful presence is Pike Queen Lucy, the frontier brain of the Battle Pike. Before actually fighting her, however, you get one last test of your luck. Out of the 3 rooms you can enter, one will fully heal all of your Pokemon, one will heal 1 or 2 of them, and the last room doesn't heal any of your Pokemon. Moving on to Lucy herself, her teams, perhaps unsurprisingly, use multiple Serpentine Pokemon. Seviper, Shuckle, and Milotic make up her Silver team, while her Gold team is Seviper, Steelix, and Gyarados. Like other Frontier Brains, Lucy has some questionable EV allocations, namely her Shuckle and Steelix having 6 special attack EVs, despite having no special attacks. Still, both teams seek to be bulky while also threatening to wear down your Pokemon. Defeating Lucy after 2 rounds nets you the Silver Luck symbol, while doing so after the 10th round nets you the Gold Luck symbol. In addition, both fights give the player the typical 10 bonus battle points, on top of what they would normally get for that round. Speaking of battle points, as usual, the higher your win streak in the Pike, the more battle points you earn. However, it's handled slightly differently here. Usually, battle facilities here just add an extra battle point after every round or 2, but in the Pike, multiple points get added every few rounds, with seemingly no rhyme or reason as to when the increases happen or how big these increases are. This is making me scratch my head because I genuinely have no idea why this is the case. If anyone happens to know why BP is handled like this in the Battle Pike, please leave a comment letting me know. Hopefully this gives y'all an idea as to why I think the Battle Pike is disappointing. The events meant to test your luck are repetitious and poorly thought out, and the fact that some wild Pokemon only appear after getting a long enough streak implies, to me at least, that Game Freak thought players would love this facility and try to get a really high streak here. Furthermore, testing your luck is something that's done in literally every facility in the Battle Frontier, not just the Battle Pike. You might think maybe Game Freak was trying to go for a roguelike type of experience with the Pike, but there's another facility that we'll be covering later that I think executes that concept better. I didn't say well, just better. And with that, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, maybe even learned something new, and a big thanks to Mithril Monarch, PK Smokey, Sedzi, and Duna Nix, along with the rest of my patrons scrolling by, for going the extra mile and financially supporting the channel. See you next time, everyone.